Hi, this is Melanie Dawn, and this is Dawn of Wisdom. Today, I want to talk about shadows, our shadows. I just listened to a very good podcast. I think it was Michelle Chalfant on the Adult Chair. She was talking to a doctor who talked about how we work with our shadows and the importance of allowing this part of us to be a part of who we are instead of ignoring or pushing it down. We can learn from this part of us. We can become mindful of those parts of us that we tend to push away because it's scary, it's uncomfortable. First of all, let's describe what a shadow is. We all know the dark figure cast upon a surface by a body intercepting the rays from a source of light. The shadow I want to talk about today is the side of our personality that is dark, that we do not like, to admit having, the part of us that makes us feel uncomfortable. That's what I want to talk about today. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. I'm a human who has confronted and embraced my shadows, or always working on it, always trying, always practicing. This is a desire of mine. I am a person who is always learning and has a deep desire to just be a better human being. That's what I want to be in this life. To me, learning about my own shadows has been crazy scary. It has been also beautiful. The shadow I want to talk about is that side of your personality that contains those parts of you that you don't want to admit to having. We all have these parts of ourselves. We all have shadows. We all have our own shadows. Our shadows can give us personal power if we learn to understand these parts that can be very scary. Let's get familiar with them. Let's get familiar with our shadows. It can be extremely scary. This doctor told a story which describes our shadow very well. The story is simple, yet it's just profound. A man was walking through a dark alley while holding a candle. He saw someone following him, and he panicked and began to run. He ran faster and faster, and this person continued to follow. He finally stopped, turned around, and realized it was his shadow. It was being cast by the candle. This man chasing him was his own self. This is a powerful story. It's symbolic. You cannot run from your shadow. You cannot run from yourself. Your shadow follows you wherever you go. It does not go away. You may deny it, pretend, but your shadow is always going to show up. It always is. Relationships, parenting, whatever it may be, your shadow is going to show up. So you might as well turn around and confront it and meet it. If we face our anger, jealousy, bitterness, fear, shame, etc. fully, we can find contentment. Believe it or not, it's a journey. It's hard, but we can find contentment. I am now at a place of, I'd say, overall contentment with seeing my shadows, knowing that this is a part of me. It can be scary. It can bring those uncomfortable feelings up. It can be terrifying. When I first started to see these parts of me, I felt so much shame. I had to investigate why. Being mindful of my shadows was just overwhelming. I understood why people choose. I understood. I now know why people choose to push them down. I now understand my shadow is my friend. My shadow teaches me the truth of who I am. This is my awakening. Everyone has shadows. Yes, scary, but it's also beautiful. If you learn, if you practice getting to know those dark sides of you because they are you, you can become friendly with them, and it can be beautiful. Knowing your shadows, your self-acceptance is it's being mindful. It's a knowing. When we repress, when we deny our shadow, that shadow grows in power. It doesn't go away. We project onto others. We blame, we judge. We put our own shadow into others instead of taking full responsibility and recognizing our shadow. We put it on other people. Being aware of your shadow and looking at who you are, it's an awareness. I keep repeating it, but it's true. When we blame others, it tends to be a direct route to our own shadow. You guys, that's powerful to be aware of that. The things we least like in others, it's most likely a characteristic that exists within you. Now, it's important to say, when doing this work, when doing shadow work, we do not over-identify. It can be overwhelming. It is always wise to do shadow work with someone, a coach, a therapist, a close friend. You might need support. It can become quite uncomfortable. Vulnerability is the key to understanding your shadow self. You can become one with your shadow. My shadow is no longer my enemy. I constantly work on it. I now see my own dark self, my own shadows. I see those parts of me that make me feel uneasy. I can now see and therefore work with that part of me. I have become very familiar with my shadow. I'm sure there's a lot more to learn, but I have become friendly with my shadow. When I do or say something that is hurtful, blaming, if I over-explain, etc., I can catch it. I understand it. I see it clearly. I no longer, most of the time, feel I need to hide from it. I recognize my shadow self. Here are a few things you can be aware of in yourself while doing shadow work. These are things I do. I have harsh criticism or judgment of others. This is a part of my shadow I have to recognize. This is a part of my shadow that I constantly have to work on. Being hard on others is usually indicative of things we judge in ourselves. The things we least like in others, it's most likely a characteristic that exists within yourself. Now, it's important to say when doing this work that we don't get too hard on ourselves, because boy, we can get so hard on ourselves by doing this work, and you have to be able to separate those two. You have to be able to say, no. This is helping me grow. This is my friend. This part of me is going to make me a better person once I identify. You just don't want to over-identify. Often this is a sign that our shadow self is afraid. When we see the side of us, we tend to panic. We just don't want to see it. We become afraid, lonely, find it difficult to accept those who are different from ourselves. And doing shadow work and recognizing things about ourselves help us to accept others that are different from us. We point out someone's flaws. I just did this the other day. This is my own insecurity, and I know that. A perfect example, mirror, mirror on the wall. We project our insecurities onto others. The mirror of life reflects all of who we are. Well, it's powerful. The good and the not so good. It's a heavy subject, but it's so important to talk about. We play victim. By not taking responsibility, we never look at our own power to change. A victim, and I've lived in this for a lot of my life, believes that they are at the mercy of everyone and everything. We use this as an excuse for the lack of progress in our lives. We do not trust others. We see our lives as lacking. We feel sorry for ourselves. Be aware of this, you guys. I've lived this way most of my life, and becoming aware of it has just been, it's been beautiful. To recognize our shadows, we need to address our own likes and dislikes. Bravely enter into self-examination. Big thing for me. In order to uncover yourself, get to know your shadow self. We must get to know our shadow self. We must get to know those parts of us that feel uncomfortable in order to get better, in order to be better in this world, in this life that has been given to us. I want to share a few of the ways I identify with my shadow self and hope this helps others. I pay attention to my emotional actions toward other people. Big one. When I feel offensive, anger, hurt, etc., I ask myself why I felt that way. This is what works for me. I walk away and I ask why I reacted the way I did, why I feel the way I do. We'll always figure it out. I will always attempt a relationship with that part of me. It's a big one. I want to get to know this part of me. I write it down. This helps me see it clearly. If I'm writing and I find myself blaming, I stop, breathe, and ask myself how and why. I often laugh. I laugh out loud at myself. This has helped tremendously. I have fun with those parts of myself. I get it. I try to confront, and often I laugh, and I understand it's me. I meditate with a focus of self-compassion. Self-compassion is so important when doing shadow work. Acceptance of your humanness. I embrace my shadow, my dark side. I try not to be embarrassed about it. Self-acceptance, self-compassion. I try, not always, but much better now. I become friendly with my shadows. They're a part of me. I do not want to shame those parts of me anymore. I play with them. My shadow has become my friend. Embrace those parts of you that are uncomfortable. Make a choice to change, to be more aware, to stop hiding. Being vulnerable is so scary, but when you make a choice to embrace your shadow, vulnerability becomes easier and it becomes beautiful. Heavy subject today, but so fun. You guys have a great weekend. Have fun. Hang with good people. Say you're sorry when needed. Tell someone you love them. Remember, your shadow is always with you, so learn to hang out with it. Learn to be kind and learn to be friendly with it. We need to stop condemning those parts of us that make us feel uncomfortable, those dark side, that shadow that is, my God, you guys, it's part of us. We're not just walk around and all the goodness in us is all there is. We all have this shadow. That is a part of us. We have to remember that. So why not embrace it? Why not become friendly with it? Why not make it someone that you hang out with? Someone that you get to know. It gets easier. You feel kinder. You have self-compassion. It's just a better way to live. When we lay our head down at night, we can sleep. We can go and to places in meditation that we've never been before. We can embrace the wonder of who we are. All right, you can reach me, Nurse Mellow, on Instagram or nurse.mellow@yahoo.com. I would love to talk about any subject you want to talk about. And okay, you guys, embrace that shadow side of yourself today.